Exploring Dada the Art Movement. Dada is an artistic and literary movement that began around 1916 in Switzerland. It was actually a revolt against the culture and values brought about by World War I. Many people would describe Dada as an avant-garde type of art. It has been influenced by different types of avant-gardes like Cubism, Constructivism, Expressionism, and Futurism. The Dada movement primarily involved visual arts, literature, poetry, art manifestos, art theory, theater, and graphic design. Dadaists were really always opposed to any form of group leadership or any guiding ideology. Their main intent was to rebel against what they saw as perhaps snobbery, bourgeois convention, and any political support towards World War I. There are many speculations on who created the word Dada and how it was made, but the most common explanation is from the co-founder Richard Husenbach, who said he found the name by randomly plunging a knife into a dictionary. Dada is most like the word Dada, for it meant the same and nothing in all languages. The cross-cultural possibilities of language were at the core of the movement's belief in freedom of expression. Dada artworks are intriguing in that their goals are to draw away from the popular scene in artwork, but still construct enough challenging ways to allow the viewer to interpret their artwork in a variety of ways. The key to understanding Dada artworks lies in interpreting the people, scenes, and silly slapdash styles with the strict anti-war message. Dada can be seen as a statement. Dadaists sought out to incite a similar fury in their audiences. It can also be considered an anti-art. Dada represented the opposite of everything which art stood for. Where art was concerned with traditional aesthetics, Dada ignored aesthetics. If art was to appeal to sensibilities, Dada was intended to offend those sensibilities. It was seen as an opportunity for the true perception and criticism of the times they lived in. Dada is the groundwork to abstract art and sound poetry, a starting point for performance art, a celebration of anti-art, and the movement that laid the foundation for Surrealism. With the arrival of Surrealists in France, the Dada movement slowly began to fade away. The movement became less active as post-war optimism led to the development of new movements in art and literature, and it also started to fade away when it became in danger of becoming acceptable. The end of Dada came about around 1923-1924. A couple of artists, Tristan Tzara and Andre Breton, began to formulate theories that Breton would eventually call Surrealism. Some Dadaists brought their interest in free expression and deconstruction of forms and conventional ideas to those who would soon become Surrealists. Dada's tradition of irrationality led directly to the love for fantasy and expression of the imaginary for Surrealism. Dada's artworks acted as a catalyst in ushering in a new era of art based on the unconscious. There were many artists who contributed to the Dada art movement. Artists like Marcel Duchamp, Tristan Tzara, Jean Art, Kurt Schwitters, and Hugo Ball. Marcel Duchamp, for instance, rejected the work of many of his fellow artists as rational art, only intended to please the eye. Duchamp wanted to put art back in the service of the mind. He contributed to the Dada movement by presenting objects themselves as art. He would select mass-produced commercial objects, designated them as art, and gave those objects the title of ready-mades. This really differed from the popular scene since it kind of destroyed the popular way of thinking about the artist's role as a skilled creator of original handmade objects. The ready-made, one of Duchamp's most striking and iconic gesture, is probably the century's most influential development on artists' creative processes. This really shined some light onto the Dada movement and made people more interested and curious of this new artwork. Another artist is Tristan Tzara. Tzara was actually one of the founders and central figures of the anti-establishment Dada movement. His performance pieces like plays, his poetry, and art manifestos became a main feature of early Dadaism. His artwork really represented Dada's nihilistic side, which was quite different from the more modern approaches. Tzara had assumed a position as Dada's main promoter and manager. He was able to move Dada's variety-like performances into more of a humorous, playful type of theater that still gave out a message to the audience. Hugo Ball, too, also created the Dada Manifesto, making a political statement about his views on the terrible state of society. To explain Dada in a simple way is that it was officially not a movement. Its artists not actually considered truly artists, and its art not being looked at as art. Thank you for listening.